Show. I am Frank Rossi with Pat Coleman here in Salem, Virginia for the final time. This is the 8th straight year that we've come to you live with 4 finalists to discuss their on and off the field attributes and successes throughout their time at their institutions. And Pat, it's going to be kind of a melancholy week. Exciting on the one hand here in Salem, but a little disappointing to be saying a lot of final times and goodbyes to folks, at least for now. Obviously, 4 years from now, things could change, but this is kind of it for now. And we have 4 great finalists: Nick Holcomb, Brett Casper, Matt Sasha, and Jordan Wilcox. First things first, why don't we tell folks why we're here, how we got to this point, Pat? And you are a voter. Why don't you kind of lead them through the process of what the Gagliardi Trophy is and how we got here?
Absolutely. Yeah, we start in November with nominations from sports information directors. I think we had 28 of them, or the J Club had 28 of them this year, which is a fantastic number. They whittle it down to 10 semifinalists, and then those semifinalists go on a ballot that come out to 40 voters, plus the voting public on d3football.com. They cast ballot number 41. You rank everybody from top to bottom, 10 points down to 1, and as I think we all know, the Gagliardi Trophy is based on football prowess primarily, but also academics, their standing in the classroom, as well as their community service. And it is it's really a well-rounded award that encompasses the well-roundedness of a Division III student athlete.
Absolutely. I had a good number, very good number of nominees this year, up from last year definitely, and great work to the sports information directors, athletic directors, et cetera, out there that got that to happen. We hope that is a continuing trend. Let's talk about the 4 finalists before we go up to the stage for the program. First, Nick Holcomb, the senior wide receiver from UW-La Crosse. And 140.1 receiving yards per game. That's immense. 20 receiving touchdowns. It was #1 in the nation in the regular season at 12 points per game. He is the first lacrosse finalist since 2004. Scott Bernowski was the last one. A school with great history, but obviously recently has been looking to come back into the spotlight, and this was one of those seasons when it happened with his prowess.
It did, and over the course of the last couple of years under Coach Mike Schmidt, they've gone from generally having 3-7 seasons to 5-5 last year, 8-2 this year, on the cusp of the playoffs. You see their attributes here on the screen. We'll talk with each of these finalists coming up a little bit as well, but it's really a situation where he is part of a class that has really helped revitalize the UW-La Crosse football program.
Down the road a piece from him was Brett Casper, senior quarterback from UW-Oshkosh, and his 232.7 yards per game passing and 65.3% completions after the playoffs were all said and done. 34 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and WIAC Offensive Player of the Year for 2 straight years. Great job by him. Obviously, we know the story of what happened on Saturday, but they were 1 game away, maybe even 1 quarter away from a return trip to Salem as a football team, but Casper gets here by way of being a finalist for the Gagliardi Trophy.
And Casper is 40-6 as a quarterback for this program. It's another program that they made the national semifinals in 2012 under Nate Wera, and Nate Wera was here as a Gagliardi semifinals or Gagliardi finalist that year as well. Now, the question is for Oshkosh going forward: does Oshkosh continue to reload, or they took a couple years off after Wera graduated? Casper's a similarly talented guy. But, all about what he's done, and we talk about his volunteer work and his community service. You can see it on the screen, and you will see it later in the video that they provided. It's really impressive what this young man has done.
Absolutely. The Be the Match program, something we're here a couple times here, but he was one that actually participated a little bit more further.
They found a match.
Yeah, they found the match, literally. Absolutely right. Let's talk about Matt Sasha, who was the only junior in the 10 semifinalists. He's the junior quarterback at Wartburg College. 247.8 yards per game in his passing, 67.5% efficiency, and 35 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Another great plus-minus there basically for him. Nearly a 3.5 in pre-med and biology. And so there's Matt Sasha. And let's also talk real briefly here about Jordan Wilcox, senior fullback from Springfield College, and 162.4 yards per game rushing, 21 touchdowns, 4 lost fumbles. His plus-minus is astounding as well. And first nationally in rushing yards per carry at 7.83.
It's been a really good year for Springfield, and Wilcox has been a huge part of that. Wilcox and Jake Eglantine, who's the quarterback for Springfield, they have been playing together for several years. They played together in high school as well, and that's a lot of fun. About Alsatia, you know, that's a program where they bounced back too after a couple of down years. They were in the national quarterfinals against UW Whitewater, and then took a couple years step back, 6-4 last year, back into prominence, back in the quarterfinals again this year. So we've got some great finalists here, and we'll get to talk to them in a few minutes.
Why don't we send it up to the dais, and Mike Stevens is already talking right now, and we'll come back here afterward for the first interview of the winner.
Julius Irving and the Virginia Squires played in here. Johnny Cash, James Brown, Def Leppard, Kiss, anyone you can think of has played in this building, and concerts continue to be the biggest draws in this facility. Also, as Mr. Harvey Cutter likes for me to mention so many times, this was also the site and the place where the infamous scene in Borat was filmed, right here in the Salem Civic Center. So if you remember that from the movie, this is it right here. So you might want to kiss the ground before you leave, something like that. Rodeo will be back in January, by the way. Come join us. History is important, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing. And so that's why we want to kind of stop what we're doing for a moment and switch these next two items on your program. The first thing we want to do is take a look at the life of the most incredible 91-year-old man you're ever going to see. Please turn your attention to the video screen.
The measure of a man can be defined in his life's work. Excellence is often equated with winning. John Gagliardi won more games than any coach in college football history, 489. He coached for 60 years at St. John's University, a Division III Benedictine college in Minnesota, where he won 4 national championships. But not all merits are measured by numbers. There is no statistical value for virtue or integrity. In 1953, he came to St. John's, a 26-year-old head coach, a simple man with a simple message.
The only advice I'd say, treat everybody the way you'd like to be treated. I said that to my players over and over, year in and year out.
He taught that football wasn't everything. Football is a stepping stone to something more important. You know, your life, your family, your friends.
That's true. I think that was his philosophy. He didn't expect that you're going to go play in the pros, but he did expect that you're going to be good men.
First day of my freshman year, he took a dime out of his pocket and held it up to the sun. He said, "That dime is football and that sun is your education. Don't get them confused." And part of that was the respect for the human being and the whole notion that he was interested in your whole life. And it's because of the value system that the Benedictines have instilled at St. John's. I think the players responded to that.
Just trying to do the right thing. And that's really the only rule I ever had with him, the golden rule.
Gagliardi preached personal accountability. In practice, he eliminated anything deemed unnecessary, an unorthodox approach he called winning with no's.
We didn't have any blocking sleds, no dummies, no whistles, no cals.
Probably the most radical was no tackling in practice. People say, how can you possibly do that? There were so many injuries in practice that it would hurt us in a game time. So all we would work on in practice is defeating the blocking scheme, getting the proper pursuit, all the kind of things mental, you might say.
We were always very well prepared and fundamentally sound, and those are the things that are going to win a lot of football games.
His principles proved basic, yet effective. In 1963, St. John's won its first national championship, and another in 1965. In 1976, Gagliardi won his third. He was revered as a coaching icon, yet to his players, he was still John.
I don't think I've ever heard him, anyone has ever called him coach. I've heard it a couple times, and, he'll just say, no, I'm John.
He was John. He's always been John. From the day one, he's been John. So if you have a question, call him John. We have a lot of guys on our team, 180 or so guys come out for the team. There's only 22 spots for starters. But every one of those kids is made to feel important on the team, and that's one of the legacies that John's left.
He is a community person, and that's really what St. John's is built on, is a community, that spirit. The neighborhood kids would always want him to play, because he'd play with us. And at that time, we're talking early 70s, dads were just going to work, bringing home the salaries, and he was all about family time.
Family life and coaching life became one and the same as son Jim joined the team as a player and later as an assistant coach. In 2003, father and son stood side by side to witness history.
Elliott split left, Riegelman to the right side, split back to the backfield. Keating under center, 5-step drop, back to pass, into the flat, Nelson the catch, to the 6, to the 5, to the 4, dives, touchdown Johnnies!
John Gagliardi's 409th career game, history made here today.
People ask me how it's done. Well, talent and luck and prayers. Thanks very much.
The times changed, but the man did not. John Gagliardi held on, and he kept
his 4th national championship. And they swing it out to Tice. Tice needs some blocks downfield, and he gets into the end zone for the touchdown. Burkhardt for Knapp, and it's picked off. Intercepted by Mike Sahar, and he is going to go. St. John's pulling off this upset, a 100-yard interception return for the Johnnies. So John Gagliardi, for the 4th time, is a national champion.
It's hard for me to believe I'm married to him. He's done so many things so well.
After 7. Yet, John Gagliardi was surrounded by his team.
Oh, God, I can't get out of this chair. Let me give you, good to see you.
How you doing, buddy?
Good to see you.
You doing good?
Good to see you. Only the best back we ever had here. Billy, how are you? Nice to see you.
How are you? John, how are you?
Good to see you.
There were things we didn't realize then that you taught us that are bigger than those things we learned on the field.
That makes me proud that I touched their lives, hopefully for the best.
John Gagliardi. He leaves the game a coaching legend. And to his players, he will simply be remembered as a saint.
As a former television person, the production quality of that is amazing, but it pales in comparison to what the subject matter was. And that's the great part of not only who John is, but also about what this award represents. At this time, if you would, welcome his son, Jim Gagliardi.
Thanks for having us here, and again, congratulations first and foremost to the two teams that are here. I certainly know how hard it is to get here. My dad, we're watching a game from now, ancient history, and we're very, very proud of it. And yet, you guys keep coming back. These two teams, sensational job, and congratulations. A couple things I want to mention is I want to thank Carrie for kind of inviting us into the Salem family here too. They really did a great job of, I think, making this trophy what it is. I think my dad's accomplishments were great, and we're very, very proud of what he did. But we thank Salem here, the NCAA, and everybody that has really embraced this trophy. Our family, and we're very, very happy to be part of your family. Thank you, Carrie. Mike here wanted me to tell a quick story, and I don't want to bore you guys, but it may have some merit. A guy by the name of Ed O'Neill, you might know him from Modern Family. He called my dad up. This is maybe might have been 15 years ago. It was before Modern Family, but he called him up and asked him if what he read was true. And Ed O'Neill had been, I think, maybe a Western Pennsylvania, Youngstown State type guy, football player, very, very good football player. And he asked my dad, is any of this stuff true? And first of all, my dad didn't know who the heck Ed O'Neill was until he told him, well, I play Al Bundy on Married with Children. Well, then he knew. Everybody knew Al back then. These kids probably don't know, but maybe their parents do. So he still didn't believe him. He thought maybe one of his players was putting him on until Ed O'Neill went into his Al Bundy routine, and he said he was sold and stuff. And they kind of had a little bit of a friendship and all. But one of the funny story, he kept saying, well, he told a story of how he hated football. And he ended up having a tryout, I think, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I hope I'm not messing those minor details up, but he had a tryout with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he actually turned it down because he hated football so much to go to acting school in New York City, which he said to his dad was not happy about that. You can imagine a kind of guy that grew up in the coal mining communities or whatever, that his dad was pretty proud of his son's football. He was going to get a chance to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. No, I'm going to go to acting school. Well, it seemed to turn out okay for him. In fact, he told my dad, he said, if I had had a coach like you, you would have screwed my whole life up, because I probably would have stayed with football. And my dad has had a number of those lives that I think he's screwed up, but hopefully for the good. And they've gotten a lot out of what he's done and what he's accomplished. And again, we're very, very proud of him. And I tell you what, these four kids, they are what this award's really about, getting to know them, having a chance to meet them. And every year I'm amazed by the caliber of kids that are up here. And I wish there was 4 of these trophies. I'm sure 3 of them wish there was 4 of them as well. But they are great, great kids. All of them probably deserve it. One of them's going to get it. It doesn't mean anything less to the other one. And I'm sure there's guys out here in this crowd that could easily have gotten it too. But what you're going to see on some of these videos is phenomenal. The only thing else I want to do, again, in this last year, the Gagliardi Trophy is a 25-year deal. City of Salem hosting this game's 25 years. It was a great partnership. We love it here. I wish we could have made it back as a team more often, but you guys do a tremendous job, and good luck to you teams, 2 teams tomorrow. I'm going to introduce Adam Herbst. He's in his first year here with the J Club. He wants to say a couple quick words. Adam here, why don't you stand up real quick? Adam was a tremendous, tremendous football player for my dad, and I was fortunate enough to coach him. He was a wide receiver, a huge 155, 60-pound. He was a very good wide receiver, but this guy could block. And it just tells you don't have to be huge to make great plays. But he would be thrown out of games constantly this day and age. So he just wants to say a couple quick words from the J Club. But again, congrats, guys. Good luck Friday night. We'll be watching.
Well, yeah, I didn't know we were going back into ancient history, Jim, but thank you for that. I appreciate those kind words. And yeah, I'll be brief, but I just want to let you know it's an honor to represent the J Club and be here in Salem for the first time. And like Jim said, it's been 25 years of a great partnership with Jostens and the city of Salem, and we just wouldn't be to this point without both of those great partners. We do look forward to what the future will bring with the city of Shenandoah and exploring that. And I want to reiterate what Jim said about just congratulating all 4 of the finalists. There's tremendous football players, but just really great young men, and a lot to be proud of. With that, also reiterate best wishes to Mount Union and Mary Hardin Baylor on Friday as well. And finally, I'll just end on a personal note. I did play for John, and so he did teach me so many things that I carry with me today off of the football field. And I think a lot of the student athletes in the crowd, you and others who've been around sports, probably have that same feeling. And it's special for me to be a part of the trophy that continues his legacy. So thank you.
Thank you both very much. Greatly appreciate it. And thanks for your attentiveness to the video as well. At this time, I'm going to ask our 4 finalists if they would stand, and they're going to make their way in front of you. You can put the eye test on them and see who you think is going to win this thing tonight. You're going to take a seat in one of the blue chairs over there as they go. So as they head over, please welcome Nick Holcomb, the University of Wisconsin Lacrosse. Also, Brett Casper, the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh. Matt Sasha of Wartburg College. And Jordan Wilcox from Springfield College, your Gagliardi finalist. And at this time, I'd like you to give a big round of applause also to the gentleman who'll be handling the individual interviews. He is the creator of D3Football.com. Please welcome Pat Coleman. So, Pat, we'll get you to go ahead and get in your seat. And as you do, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go back to the video screen and meet Nick Holcomb.
Here at UW Lacrosse, our mission is building champions in sport, in school, and in life. And we're trying to do that with our football program through the culture of positivity and love, respect, kindness. And Nick Holcomb embodies all of those things. We're incredibly proud that he's a finalist for this award. We're incredibly proud that this is one of our students being put forward for this award. And you can't say enough great things about Nick. Quite frankly, he was a superstar on the field, in the community, and certainly in the classroom for us here at UW Lacrosse. And I don't think you'll be able to get those words out of him because he's such a humble and caring guy. But what a great teammate, and we couldn't be more proud of Nick.
Drew David looking down. He's going for the end zone. Nick Holcomb is there, and it's a touchdown.
This year was the funnest year I've had at UWL as a football player on and off the field.
Nick Holcomb had a record-setting year as he led all of NCAA Division III players in receiving touchdowns, yards, and yards per game. He broke the WIAC single-season record for receiving touchdowns and UWL single-season records for receptions, yards, and touchdowns, and set a single-game record for receiving yards and tied the record for single-game receptions. Holcomb was also named to the 2017 All-WIAC First Team. Along the way, Holcomb had 6 100-yard receiving games, caught a touchdown in 9 of the 10 games played, and also set the single-game school and conference record with 5 receiving touchdowns in his final game.
He's going for Holcomb in the corner, and there it is. Oh. And another touchdown for Nick Holcomb.
I never am going to say that this, I did this myself. I didn't do this. This was a team effort. I said it before, I'm the last person to touch the football and last person involved with the play. I just have to do my job, and if everybody does their job, then it's up to me to do mine. And that's just kind of what I focused on, was just doing my job, because I was confident enough that everybody else was doing theirs, like the O-line, the QB, and all that. So I just had to do my job, and that's what I did, and that's how I was successful this year.
So it was a lot of fun with him, because when we're clicking, we're getting after it, and then we always push each other. That was the best part about Nick, is he pushed me to be a better quarterback, and I pushed him to be a better wide receiver. And I really, I'm going to miss that connection on the field.
We talk about that our leaders and our seniors really need to be playmakers, and it seemed like every time our team needed a play this year, Nick was there to provide that play on the field. And
it's 3rd and long or something like that, I know that he's going to be the guy that's getting the ball right pre-snap, so he makes it easy for me in that regard, as I just catch the ball, go back, and throw it up to him, and I know he'll make a play.
To do it the way that he did it, with making those outstanding plays, you know, like Drew said, that he makes us look really good. He made some unbelievable catches, and he's just, his ability to time up the ball and go up and get it is second to none.
Pass going to the end zone again to Holcomb, and he's got another one.
Holcomb is a double major in finance and management with a 3.29 GPA.
If I wasn't a student athlete, I don't know how good I'd be doing in school right now, because it does teach you that you just got to get your stuff done. You know, coming in as a freshman, I didn't take it as seriously as I should have, so I struggled my first semester, second semester, figured it out a little bit, but ever since then, I've, you know, climbed every year. I went up in GPA every single semester, and I think I've been on the Dean's List 3 times now, hoping one more this semester and possibly, and then next semester as well.
There's a big pass to Nick Holcomb, though. Holcomb's wide open. He's caught it.
He has turned into an excellent student. He doesn't want to do anything halfway. We talk about it a lot during practice. Don't settle for where you are now. You strive to be the best you can. And I can see him doing that in the classroom. I'd love to be his boss sometimes in the corporate world. That's going to be fun because you're going to have one heck of an employee there.
Nick's an incredible student. He epitomizes what it means to be a student athlete. Such a solid GPA in some really tough majors here at a really competitive school. And so Nick really brings it in the classroom, and his GPA speaks some of those things. But I think not only that, but just his drive and his determination in the classroom. Those kind of seem to be things that keep showing up.
Holcomb volunteers with the annual Veterans Day Breakfast, PWL football camps, helping local special needs students learn life skills, and participates in a walking school bus program, leading children to school in the morning.
It's a team thing. We all try to just engage ourselves with those young kids, and hopefully we teach them a lot like I've been taught throughout my years of young football camps. Hopefully we're teaching them a lot about the sport and a lot about the team aspect of it and how fun the sport actually is. And
I think all those kids would adore him.
He'll be the first guy to go up and go meet a kid and start playing catch with them.
Nick's definitely a role model to all the kids here in town.
There's the snap, and True David goes to Holcomb. Who else? Touchdown!
This is a team award, and I think showing where we came from through the past couple of years, this team is very deserving to win this award. Not me. This team is deserving to win this award, and I hope I can bring it back for them.
As good as football player is, he's that good a person. I really think that he has a great heart, and he's going to be successful in life no matter what it is.
Nick Holcomb is the all-American guy. He's hunting and fishing. He's in class. He's helping out, throwing balls with the students and playing catch and running our youth camps and serving around. I mean, how could you not want your kid to be exactly like Nick Holcomb?
So, Nick, what does, you guys, obviously, you're here, Brett's here. What does having 2 finalists from the WIAC say about the level of play in your conference?
Yeah, like I said about this being kind of a team award, it shows that, you know, 2 teams are basically up for this award, which kind of shows the strength of this conference. Not only that, but having a team from our conference in the last 13 semifinals of the Division III playoffs is kind of another thing to look at. I mean, the strength of our conference is huge.
You guys at lacrosse went through a string of 3-win seasons, then last year 5-5, this year 8-2, legitimate hopes of getting in the NCAA playoffs. You know, you got new coach Mike Schmidt. Is that what the biggest driver of the change was?
Honestly, I believe it. There's 3 new coaches, basically, the Coach Landry, Coach Janis, and Coach Schmidt, the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and then head coach. And they just brought a whole new energy to the team. I mean, beforehand, we were all kind of, you know, just lackadaisical, kind of not enjoying ourselves that much, and they got here and just re-energized the entire team, and that kind of drove us to be better and got us better, and it couldn't have worked out any better.
And this was really a breakout season for you. You know, 4 catches 2 years ago, 29 catches last year. Obviously, there were a bunch of talented guys ahead of you too. So was it just a matter of waiting for them to move on?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting behind 2 extremely good wide receivers last year. Had to work my way into the mix eventually throughout the year, and you know, the coach would always come to me and tell me like, "Hey, you're gonna be the man one time." And finally, this year came around, and I was the #1 receiver, and that kind of played a role. But as I say all the time, you know, it's a team effort. This whole thing's a team effort, and it wasn't just me stepping up, it was the entire team, and that's kind of how I got it done.
Back in the day, lacrosse has had candidates for this award, has won 2 national championships, one of them here in Salem. How does it feel to be part of a group that might be bringing that tradition back a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully this is the start. Hopefully last year was even the start. Just keep working our way more and just getting better and better each year. And you know, that's just something you gotta plan for almost. I mean, we're becoming it's going to be a new era from the past, I don't know, 10 years, whatever it was, 2006 or whatever, last winning season. So yeah, having this record, having this award basically for our team shows that, you know, we're going to be a team to compete with. So, you know, getting new recruits, all this stuff, it's going to be good to see.
You're involved in quite a few service projects, as we saw. Which one's the most meaningful to you?
Like I said up on the video, it's kind of working with children. Back when I was young, I would always, you know, go to camps, do things with older guys, and like playing sports with them. And I just felt like I always looked up to them. And that's kind of what I did with these kids. I, you know, go to walking school bus, where, you know, walk kids to school. You have the football. You teach the kids to play football. And I just kind of wanted to be a role model, like back in the day when people were being role models for me. So I kind of just like that aspect of that.
Why don't you introduce who came with you guys tonight?
So I got my mom, Amy, father, Randy, and brother, Ben. And then I got head coach, Mike Schmidt, and offense coordinator, Jake Landry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Nick Holcomb, a round of applause.
Nick, Pat, great start. Let's now meet Brett Casper from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh.
Brett Casper, senior quarterback, UW-Oshkosh.
Quarterback Brett Casper has rewritten the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh record book, on the way to leading the Titans deep into the NCAA postseason each of the past 3 seasons, including the program's first trip to the Amos Alonzo Stagg Bowl in 2016. Casper owns a 40-5 record as a starter and boasts a 3.37 grade point average as a supply chain management major. In January 2017, Casper was named the first Division III captain of the All-State American Football Coaches Association's Good Works team for his volunteering efforts with Be the Match. Casper's bone marrow matched a young girl from Indiana in need of a transplant, and he underwent the procedure to save her life in spring of 2016.
I called Kelly immediately when he got picked and said, you just got the golden ticket. Because if there's a guy that's going to do this and be able to help you in what your mission is to get Be the Match out there, this is your guy.
The first time that I met Brett Casper, his smile was incredible. His enthusiasm and dedication through that smile and through all of the wonderful things that he has done has just proven what a lifesaver he is. Not only has he helped save a beautiful little girl's life, but he's also continued to inspire other people to save lives each and every day.
My family's life was turned upside down when our 5-year-old daughter was diagnosed with leukemia. You can't imagine how devastating that kind of news is. In our darkest hour, when all hope seemed to be lost and our daughter's life hung in the balance, all we could do is pray for a miracle.
The emotions were very high. You know, you're waiting a year to see if this young girl is going to make it, and every day you're thinking about it.
5 years later, our daughter's alive because of him.
He is a brother to me, and just like a brother, he is dependable. He is kind, sweet, generous, and helpful. And you just don't see people like him anymore. I am grateful to have a brother like him in my life.
He truly has a bond with Phoenix that you and I can't explain, so it's beautiful.
His selflessness and his courage saves lives, and it saves families. I know it saved ours.
As a mom of young children, Brett Casper is definitely someone that I want my children to know because he is a proven hero.
Brett, in my opinion, is really the quintessential student athlete and offers so much to this campus and to this community.
Saving a girl's life and being put out there and never complaining about it, that's what we recruited him for. That's what's amazing about the guy.
Phoenix lives because Brett gives.
And for that, we are eternally grateful.
that kid is alive because of you. How does that impact you?
Yeah, it was.
Hold it closer. You're good.
Okay.
Yep.
It was a crazy, you know, a day when we got to meet finally for her family to come up to Oshkosh and actually see us play lacrosse 2 years ago. But just there's a different energy in the room, and finally being able to meet in person and just exchange some words and you know, have that embrace from her. It was awesome, and like she said, you know, she's definitely an extension to our family now.
For those who aren't familiar with Be the Match, or maybe haven't gone through the procedure, what does it entail? What does it involve?
It's a fairly simple process to get on the registry list. It's a simple cheek swab, and we hold those on campus every spring, once a year. And it's a simple cheek swab. You're on the registry list till I think you're about 65. And you have a chance to donate up to twice. So once I donated, I'm back on the registry list. But yeah, once you get selected as a match, it kind of starts a longer process where there's some blood work to make sure you're a perfect match, and then the procedure itself. I was under general anesthesia, and you know, it was like a 45-minute to an hour long process, and then recovery was about 2 weeks. So after a week, I was back into my normal routine, and just took off an additional week because we were in off-season training.
Let's talk about football for a second. Obviously, a disappointing end to your season last week. Have you come to grips with that? Can you come to grips with that yet?
No, it was tough. I think being here today has kind of made me realize. And then even on Monday, you know, going to the stadium and cleaning out the locker and kind of having to remind yourself you're done. So it was tough, but Mount's a great team, and it just goes to show that you can't be lackadaisical, you know, especially in the semifinal round.
Oshkosh has had a great run over the course of the past couple years, and of course going back to making the semis in 2012. So 2012, we had Nate Wera here, quarterback then, and then, you know, the program took maybe a step or two backwards and then resurged back into where they've been over the course of the last couple of years. Do you think the program's to the point now where it's going to be like that all the time? They just reload rather than have one of those off years in the between?
Absolutely. You know, our defense this past season was a little young, and I think even Coach Cerrone was a little hesitant on how they would perform. But they did a great job as some underclassmen, you know, doing a great job and stepping up and performing. So we're getting a lot of those kids back, returning all but one on the O-line, and a lot of skill guys. So, you know, it's definitely guys that are filling the places that we need, and they're there to stay. And like you said, with Nate being here in 2012, you know, he was a big part of why I came to Oshkosh, and he's been a great mentor to me throughout my whole college career, and has always wished me luck and has tried to do his best to get the best out of me.
Take a minute and introduce who came with you tonight.
Yeah, so I got my two coaches, Coach Cerrone, the head coach, Coach Vinay, offensive coordinator, and then my number one fans, my dad, Ken, Mom, Linda, Grandma, Janice, and then Grandpa Mel.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a hand for Brett Casper.
Thanks so much, Brett. And win, lose, or draw tonight, you epitomize what we heard in that video from Coach Gagliardi. John, if you will, just treat people the way you want to be treated. Thank you, sir. Next up, please, from Wartburg College, Matt Sasha.
We like everything about Matt as a quarterback, really. I mean, there's not anything that he's deficient in. The greatest thing is he's smart. He studies the game well. He's able to process a lot of information. Matt's got a strong and accurate arm. He's a great decision maker. We knew that he'd be a great fit here because he has everything that you're after.
Well, I first became interested in football really young. Watching Brett Favre as a quarterback was really something that got me going on wanting to play. The biggest thing for me was the opportunity to play football at a high level and also get a great academic experience because I've always been interested in the medical field, and I know Wartburg had a great science program. Hopefully after graduation, I'll go to medical school. I don't know where yet, but I'll look around for that and hopefully become an orthopedic surgeon.
You know, I think as good a quarterback as Matt Sasha is, he's even a better guy. He's a better person. He's the type of guy that you want to have representing your program.
I'm involved in Dance Marathon. I'm on the executive team for that. Well, for me, Dance Marathon has always been a very personal thing. My family's been involved with it ever since I was really young. With my sister had cancer at a very young age, so we got to taste that. And so when I knew that Wartburg had a Dance Marathon program, I definitely wanted to get involved with that and do as much as I could. I volunteer at the Unified Sports Day. Unified Sports Day has always been a really cool experience. For our living situation, we volunteer at North Star, which is a disabled adults center, and some of those people come to that event, and it's just a really fun way to get to know some more people and kind of do some service. Last year I took a service trip to North Carolina where we did some food shelter service and also kind of Habitat for Humanity builds.
You know, the player and the person that Matt Sasha is today and that he's evolved into is something that we're really proud of, and certainly, I believe that we all in our program have played a role in his development and helping him along the way. You know, really, he came to us with all these attributes that I've been talking about, and I think those are things that he was taught by his family and by his teachers and coaches at North Scott High School, and so we're just lucky to have a chance to have a person like Matt Sasha in our football program.
All right, you did a great job talking about your community service in the video. So let me ask about the classroom for a second, because I don't know how you have time to do all that stuff if you're a pre-med bio major also. What was your class schedule like this semester?
So this past semester, I had Monday, Wednesday, and Friday lectures for biochem, anatomy, and physiology, and then I took an accounting class also. And on Tuesday and Thursday, I had labs for my science classes.
Yeah, that's a huge amount of time commitment. Anytime you have a science class with a lab, how do you fit, where does that fit around practice?
So Wartburg's always done a great job about planning so that practice is always usually no conflicts. Our coaches do a great job. They tell us numerous times, you know, if you have a class conflict, you go to class. Don't worry about football. We can figure it out later. And then just managing my time as well as I can is the biggest thing, just being diligent and trying to get stuff done ahead of time.
Unlike the rest of these guys, you have another year left at Wartburg. Have you thought about what your goals are, or maybe Wartburg's goals for 2018?
Well, yeah, I mean, really our goals every year are going to be pretty consistent. We want to be the champions of the IAC, make it to the playoffs. You know, this year we made it as far as other teams have in history at Wartburg, and we would like to take another step forward from that.
Last year, you guys went 6-4, your first year as a starter, but 3 of those were really close losses. What was the biggest difference between that year and this year?
You know, I think the biggest thing is just some more experience this year. The 6-4 season, we had a lot of guys who, it was kind of their first year playing, mine included, and I think that showed at times. But we also had a lot of talent, and we knew that, and so we had a lot of those same guys back for this year, and just with a year under their belt, you know, it makes a huge difference.
Are you going to stick around and see how these guys make out on Friday? Because if you want to make the next step, you might be playing one of those 2 programs.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to those teams. That's an awesome job by them. Unfortunately, I won't be able to because I have to go back and take a couple finals for my science classes on Friday, but I'll be keeping up with it and paying as close attention as I can.
Why don't you introduce who came with you here tonight?
So I have 2 of my coaches, head coach, Coach Willis, offensive coordinator, Matt Wheeler. I have my grandma, Darlene, my mom, Steph, my dad, Eric, and my girlfriend, Megan.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Sasha, a round of applause.
Thank you, Matt. We've had a wide receiver, a couple of quarterbacks. Now how about the final piece of the skill position foursome here? Jordan Wilcox from Springfield College, a fullback.
When I think of Jordan and the time he spent not only on the gridiron, but his pursuits and his opportunities outside of football with his community service and his work in the classroom, just thrilled to have Jordan in the mix here. And when you think about it in the context of having, across all Division III, there's got to be probably 25,000 student athletes and playing football, and to have a Springfield College student in the mix, the Final Four, just terrific. Really, really thrilled for Jordan.
What he meant to this team on the football side of things is remarkable, to be honest with you. I mean, as hard as he ran all year long, and as what he did for the offense, when people knew he was going to get the football quite a bit, and it was still hard to defend him, and he was making people miss. And I think a great team player makes everybody else better, and that's what he did. He made our offensive line better, he made our quarterback position better, he made our wide receivers better. So he had that ability to make everybody on this football team a better player.
This year was all about the team. It didn't matter if he ran for 300 yards like he did against Keene or whatever, or he ran for 84 and we beat WPI. It was whether we won or not, and that's all that mattered.
But I think he continued to get better as a person along the way as well, and that's what really allowed him to develop his game to the fullest potential, and that's what we saw this past year. And I think Jordan, he figured it out at some point, probably within the last year or so, how special he could be on and off the field, and then that's when he really took off as a player, and I think that's a direct result of how he's developed as a person.
But he works hard. He's always doing homework, and he's one of the kids that's like, he'll get his work done even if it's not due for 2 weeks.
He's got a great personality, obviously, and he's able to sell a lot of people with his personality side of things, and him and a couple other guys on the team actually won a Junior Achievement Award this past season for one of the models that they produced as far as a business plan goes. So he's excelled in the classroom all along, and I think the ability, obviously, to interact with people, especially on the business side of things, has helped him along throughout the course of the last 4 years, and I think that's definitely noticeable with probably some of his other professors that had an opportunity to talk to him about as well.
When I think of Jordan in the class, Jordan is always excited to come in class. Even on days we have tests, he's excited. He has this big smile on his face and has a great attitude. And that kind of attitude goes beyond Jordan and infects the rest of the class, I think, in a very positive way.
So we all have a really good relationship with Luke, but I think Jordan has a little bit more of a relationship than some of us do, and that comes from freshman year when we first met Luke. As soon as we first met Luke, he jumped on it. I think him and Luke have this special relationship where they are able to click and they motivate each other. So I think it's been good for him and good for Luke.
Jordan's one of the first people to come up to Luke whenever Luke shows up. It doesn't matter how intense the game is in that moment. They could be going through, play adjustments or whatever it is. He'll see Luke and he'll immediately come over, to give him knuckles or give him a hug or whatever it might be. And he comes up continually, time and time again, and says, "Luke, we're going to get another touchdown for you. We're going to get another touchdown for you." They were fortunate and that they had such a successful season. They were able to get a lot of touchdowns, and Jordan was a big part of a lot of those touchdowns. Jordan's always been somebody who's reached out to Luke, always somebody who's offered encouraging words, told him that he was going to crush it, told him that the biopsy would come out good, and then was one of the first people to ever, to embrace him every time he showed up.
We constantly talk to the guys about being selfless, and I think Jordan put it in great words at the burning of the old shoe this past year. As he said, when I was a freshman, I was selfish. I was more about myself and numbers and stats and everything. And through this program and what it's meant to me and the opportunities to interact with Luke Bradley and see the inspiration that he provides our team individually, collectively, I think he's just realized, and we always talk to our guys that, it's not perspective that we gain from this. It's the opportunity to establish empathy and selflessness and caring for others, not just about ourselves, through football, because the game itself teaches you a lot. But You know, I think what it's taught Jordan over the course, especially over the course of the last year or two, is that empathy factor, is live for others as well. And I think that once you can start living for others, it's going to make your life that much better as well. And then I think it can release you to be the best possible person you can be. And we always, again, talk within this program that better people are going to become great players.
We heard a lot of people talk about Luke. I don't know if we heard you two talk too much about Luke. Tell us about your relationship with Luke Bradley.
Luke Bradley's been like a true inspiration to me, along with the whole brotherhood back at Springfield College and my fellow teammates over there. He's definitely impacted all of our lives in a major way. Unfortunately, his leukemia came back this last September. He has a transplant coming up with his father, first one at Boston Children's Hospital coming up in about 2 weeks once he gets healthy. He had a minor setback last week, so hopefully for a speedy recovery for him, and things will look up.
We've always watched kind of triple option teams with a kind of a sense of fascination. It seems, you know, team success can kind of swing wildly from year to year. When did you know that this year would be a year that you guys could run the table?
This is a special group of guys. Coach C, becoming the head coach last year, was definitely huge for us, not making any changes. And offensively, we knew we had the guys to do it. We just had to put it all together, and I think we really did a great job of that this year.
You played with Jake Eglantine, your quarterback, also in high school. How many years did you guys end up playing together?
Ended up being a total of 7 years.
So, you know, they talk about rapport between a drop-back quarterback and a wide receiver. You know, you get the timing down or whatever, having played with a guy for a long time. Does the same thing extend between a quarterback and a fullback in the option system?
Definitely, because every play there's a mesh point between the quarterback and the fullback. So that's definitely important. The first phase of the option. So I have to make him right. He has to make me right, and we have to be on the same page every play.
So you have a lot of teammates here. How long a drive is that for them?
10 hours.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. I'll give you a chance to introduce them here in a second. But we've also got 100 guys here in this room who are at some point going to be paying off student loans, I'm pretty sure. As a finance major, what advice would you have for them?
My best advice is get a job out of college. I know it's hard nowadays, but get a job and make some money, and the 3 Ps, pay the principal as soon as possible. It's my best advice I give everyone.
All right. Why don't you introduce the guys who came with you?
So I have Joel Shodandy, my brother Joey, Chula Loomis, Joe Chaves, Dom Traversa, Jake Eglantine, Corey DuSimone, head coach Mike Sarasulo, also offensive coordinator Greg Webster, Brian McGough, media guy, and my father Steve, my mother Colleen, and my sister Jalen.
For all those people who are watching at home, this is the way you do it. Get your teammates out here to support you. Even if your team's not playing the championship, he just named a bunch of guys who are here who have his back tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Jordan Wilcox.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to sustain that applause as all 4 of our finalists make their way back to the head table, and we'll get set for tonight's presentation. Gentlemen, come on back. Also, Pat, I want to thank you very much for a great effort. Pat Coleman from D3Football.com.
Thanks, Mike.
So sometimes things have a way of working out for the best. And tomorrow night, at our final championship banquet, I have the opportunity to introduce a number of other people who are here tonight, but 3 people that I just want to recognize that are very instrumental in the reason that I'm standing up here and the reason any of us in the city of Salem are able to do what we do with these championships. First off, Mr. Kevin Bogus, the city manager, is here tonight. Kevin. Our vice mayor, Mr. Bill Jones. And our mayor in the city of Salem, Mr. Randy Foley. Gentlemen, thank all of you for being here tonight and supporting this. So I said things work out for the best sometime. I hate it that as you look in your program, the next person, Mike Callison from Jostens, is not here. He's under the weather tonight. So as a result, we're going to get a chance to hear from 2 individuals who weren't on the program, but 2 folks who have been involved with this championship ever since 1993 when it began here in Salem. One is the commissioner of the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. The other is the game manager for this weekend's Stag Bowl. Please welcome, if you would, Mr. Brad Bankston and Mr. Kerry Harvey-Cutter.
Mike, I can assure you nobody hates it more than Mike Callison isn't here than me. Mike does send his regrets from Jostens. He is in the Hotel Roanoke with some sort of communicable disease that he chose tonight not to expose the rest of us to. And if Mike's having a chance to watch this, I want to say thank you personally for him not being here. But what he does want to say, and I'll try to convey his thoughts to you, is a great deal of thanks to the J Club, as well as the city of Salem, for everything they have done in support of this award. This award's been here for 25 years. There have been 24 recipients. There have been 15 different schools honored. And one of the two teams that's here this weekend has had 7 of those winners in Mount Union. So congratulations to all the past winners. And I don't want to drag things out tonight, but I do want to say that the 4 finalists that you have epitomize what Division III athletics is all about. And this award epitomizes the same thing in community service, academic excellence, as well as prowess in their athletic venue. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Carrie Harvey-Cutter, in honor of the 25th Gagliardi Award presentation, to come forward and announce tonight's winner.
On behalf of the J Club, Jostens, and the Gagliardi family, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to present the 2017 Gagliardi Award, Gagliardi Award to Brett Casper. Brett, if you can head over with Adam and myself to the award.
Talk about bittersweet. I sat in this very room last year with a different perspective. Sitting out there and looking up here, I tried envisioning myself as being nominated as one of the 4 finalists for the highest award in Division III football. I'm not going to lie, it was tough to envision that last year due to the prestigious award it is and the caliber of player that is nominated for it. But if anything, it instilled the belief that I could be, and that was enough. I don't know what it is about this week, but it's special. It changes you as a person. It allows you to reflect on how thankful you are to be in this position while competing at the highest level. This leads me to wanting to congratulate both teams here tonight. And that's tough for me, as you know, I know a little bit about each team. So your 2 championship caliber teams who both deserve to be here. But what I've learned through my experience is to not take this week for granted. Enjoy the week, take it all in. There's a lot of distractions. But at the end of the day, you got to remember what you're here for and what goal you're trying to accomplish. Because like myself, you may never get that shot again. It's an emotional roller coaster, but it's a ride you'll never forget no matter the outcome. So congratulations and best of luck on Friday. I also want to thank or congratulate the other finalists here tonight. The seasons and careers you guys have put together are extremely impressive and have raised the level of competition throughout Division III football, so congratulations. I want to thank the J Club, Jostens, and the Gagliardi family for the great honor and capping off my career in a special way. Thank you to the city of Salem for being a wonderful host and making the week so special. This week would not be possible without you. Thank you to Coach Cerrone, Coach Vinay, Connor, Stenny, Arch, Angel, Brown, the list goes on, the coaching staff who's gotten me to this point. You know, whether it was football related or school related or a personal issue, you guys are always there for me and always supported from day one, so thank you. Thank you to Mr. Sims, and the rest of the athletic department, Kenan, Doug, Liz, and the rest of the marketing department, Chancellor Levitt, and the rest of the university for all the support over the past 4 years and promoting this award and coordinating the bridegroom's trip up to Oshkosh and making that possible. I also want to thank all my teammates who I've built relationships with over the past 4 years. We've created a lot of memories that I'll never forget, and have accomplished so much for the program and the university, and we have a lot to be proud of. Thank you, Mr. Keller, the Titan Touchdown Club, Titan Faithful, for all the support and providing all the necessary resources to be successful. You guys are the true definition for someone who bleeds black and gold. I want to thank the bridegroom family, as well as all the friends and family of Phoenix Bridegroom, for showing me all the love and support you guys have shown me throughout these last 2 years. Thank you for having the courage to share your story to the rest of the world, because I know that was tough for you, not wanting to relive those days. But thank you for sharing your story. It's a special one, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Phoenix, you provided so much hope to those fighting at the same battle. You have fought and continue to fight. Thank you for being so courageous and being such a wonderful role model to others, and especially myself. Keep up the fight. Last but not least, I want to thank my #1 fans, my mom, my dad, grandma and grandpa, and the rest of my family. You guys have dedicated so much to me just to see me succeed. Thank you for instilling those values and morals within me to make all the right choices and always setting an example of what hard work is. My favorite thing to do is to make you guys proud, and there's nothing more I want to replicate your examples you've shown me. So thank you, and I love you guys. In closing, I just want to leave you with a piece of advice. My favorite piece of advice from my grandpa: always make sure your head fits the helmet. Thank you, guys.
We're going to ask Brett, if he would, to just head on off the stage, and I'm going to have him head over to the set. If you're here tonight, I know there are a number of photographers and, of course, family members who would like to get photos. We'll get Brett with the trophy, and then you'll have the opportunity to take photos with him, with the team, and everyone else, and anyone else who would like to. We just thank you all for being here. It's rare that you can come in and go through a night like this, and at the end, a little young person like Phoenix is smiling, and someone who's just a little older like Coach Gagliardi is also smiling, because he'd be very proud of this winner. Thank you all for being here. Have a great weekend in Salem.
And there you have it, folks. The 2017 Gagliardi Trophy winner is Brett Casper, the senior quarterback from UW Oshkosh. Kind of a bittersweet speech even from him here. You can tell that obviously it stings a little bit what happened on Saturday, and a little bit of modesty thrown in as well. We'll talk to him about that in a little bit in terms of his first interview that is coming up after he takes some photos with friends, family, etc. So you'll want to stay tuned for that as we'll get him up here. And also, I think Coach Cerrone as well might be joining him up here on our stage. So let's talk a little bit about what this all means in the grand scheme of things. And the only other WIAC winner of the Gagliardi Trophy was Wisconsin Whitewater in terms of school-wise over the years. So this is only number 2 for the WIAC over time. Kind of hard to believe with all the championship teams that Wisconsin Whitewater had over time that it was just one, and that was Justin Beaver in 2007, the running back. And you can see right now he's the winner is taking photos. Brett Casper with the reduced size trophy. A couple of years ago, there was a much larger version of this trophy that was given out, and a very tough trophy to get home, let's say, or shipped, or however you would do it. And finally, they decided to use a smaller version here of the Gagliardi Trophy. Still a heavy trophy, I can attest to that as well. but a little bit easier to actually hold up instead of just stand next to for photo posing. Quarterbacks have reigned supreme in the Gagliardi Trophy. I'm counting, I believe, I think that's 12. This is probably the 13th, if my quick count is correct here. 13th time that a quarterback has won the Gagliardi Trophy. You know, I guess high-profile position of sorts, and that's why maybe that happens. But in this situation here, I think a lot of people weren't very surprised to hear Brett's name called for the ultimate win here tonight because of all the service and the on-the-field success that he's had along the way. The Be the Match story is only part of the picture of him, obviously, with Phoenix Bridegroom and her family being big fans of his. I was looking at her page during the whole shindig going on here, and she is in remission. She's fine still, according to a Monday update. Had a couple of lab numbers that went a little askew, but she wants everybody to know she is fine, and she's just a little under the weather, but will make it out just fine, according to her mother, who posted that. So you can see the continuing saga of, you know, what she is going through, obviously, but having somebody like Brett Casper alongside her along this way has been extremely important, not just in the donation itself, but he has been very involved in what she has gone through, especially over the last year plus. So a very deserving winner in Brett Casper. And I see my partner in crime there, Pat Coleman, probably telling him, come on over, let's give an interview here to D3Football.com and company, and we'll get that for you in just a little bit. I want to remind you that on Friday night, you heard a lot about the teams that are here. That is Mary Hardin Baylor and also Mount Union. They're playing in the Stag Bowl at 7 o'clock on ESPNU. We always tell you on D3Football.com we have an audio broadcast. You'll want to turn down the volume of the game on the video version of it and turn us up. I will be on the sideline. It will be about as cold as it's been around kickoff time in my 11 Stag Bowls. This will be. And so you'll want to hear some on the field and upstairs folks and voices that you're pretty much familiar with here at this point in time. And that is Pat Coleman as play-by-play, Keith McMillan on color, and myself as sideline commentator. And we are going to be joined just momentarily with our winner. So as we get them mic'd up here, and his coach also, I want to be one of the first, although I'm not going to be the first. Congratulate you, sir. Brett Casper, Gagliardi Trophy winner. Look up here and say hello to your good fans up there. I know there are plenty watching. We saw some of the numbers as this is going on. I got to say one thing, though. You hit me in your speech and the way you've been carrying yourself throughout this. Okay, yes, I understand what happened on Saturday affects you. But you hit me as somebody that doesn't think he's done anything that special along the way. That the miss on Saturday, it is what it is, but you have this humbleness about you, or this modesty about you right now. Do you understand how special you really are and what you've done over the years, not just on but off the football field as well?
I mean, it's hard for me to talk about myself like that. It's just kind of something that my parents have raised me on and you know, try to teach me their ways, and I just try to carry that on. But you know, it's a humbling honor to win this award, and I couldn't be more happy.
Coach, I want to bring you in as well. It's
Sure.
Coach Pat Cerrone, and we want to talk to you a little bit earlier. You didn't get a chance to, but I think it's the perfect time to bring you in here to say, you know, you heard my question to him.
Yeah.
Is this him 24/7 in the years that you've been around him?
Yeah, I mean, he's never changed since the day I recruited him, and that's really the remarkable thing about it is he didn't have to grow up. He didn't have to mature. You know, he's been this kid ever since I met him as a high school senior, and you know, it's too good story. You know, someone like him, everything's too good. There's no flaws, and I'm really proud of him. And what, you know, probably didn't come out tonight as well as it should is how good of a football player he is. And you know, 40-6 he ended up being in our conference. That's pretty darn good. And you know, 6 losses and 3. I think we counted today, 5 of them were to the number 1 and number 2 team in the nation. So he lost to one NAIA school. You know, I mean, we beat everybody else. And, you know, I think that's what gets lost in something like this tonight is, you know, you have Phoenix out there and everything else. But the reality is he is the best player. And we're proud of him for that. and for what he's done in the community. It's just kind of the perfect storm.
Brett, what did you say to the team Saturday? I know you have a leadership about you with that team, not just on the offense, but on both sides of the ball and special teams. So you're a force to be reckoned with on the field, as Coach says, and in the locker room. What did you say to the team on Saturday? Because obviously you have a lot of seniors that was it for them, but you have a lot of underclassmen that you're paving the way for, or have paved the way for in your play over the years. What did you say to them after what happened on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think at halftime, you know, the message was kind of let's come back down to earth. Obviously, you got 30 minutes more to play, and you just can't let up on a team like Mount. You know, they're a great team. So just trying to get the guys level-headed, and you know, they put together, you know, 4 or 5 perfect drives, and we're playing perfect football. And by the time you know, they built their momentum, it was just too hard to overcome and too late. So
what about after the game?
Yeah, after the game, it was just kind of a message that we'll be all right. You know, this group that they got coming in as seniors this coming year has played a lot of football in the playoffs too. So they're experienced and they'll be ready.
You're sticking around, from what I understand, for Friday for this Stag Bowl, and to me that hit me as a very interesting decision, because obviously you're not playing in it, but in what happened and everything else, okay. But you're not going home right away. I think you're the only one of the 4 that's sticking around for this. Why was it important for you to stick around for this game? And is football something that you're going to continue to be connected with after graduation? Is there any hope for coaching, et cetera, for you, or anything else?
Well, you know, they told me I might have a sideline pass, but I didn't know what sideline to stand on. So, you know,
just stand with me. You'll be fine. We got you.
Yeah, it was just kind of reflecting on you know, the experience I went through last year and being a part of the game. It's a great game. It's a great week, and it was something special that I got to be a part of, and not being able to play it in this year, it hurts. But I just kind of wanted to be there for the game. You know, get to watch it, see 2 great teams play, but then also just kind of make a little vacation out of it with my family. With graduating school here on Saturday, I'll be done, so you know, just kind of enjoying the time off.
Good for you. Coach?
Yes, sir.
The Phoenix Bridegroom story, obviously something we've heard about a lot over the last year, but how has that helped tie this team together with Brett at the helm of this whole thing? How important has this been to get this team in that team unit mentality?
Yeah, I got an email 4 years ago if I want to be a part of some program, and you know, I just answered the email, and here's the result of it. You know, we just wanted to help be the match, and Kelly Vanderweilen, and we ended up saving Phoenix's life, and we've had other players that have donated. We have another guy coming up here, Andrew Jones, is going in here in February to do a procedure. So, you know, it's just something that answered the email, and it was different. And we took the bull by the horns and said, let's partner with these people. And we're cutting them a check here in February for $12,000 again. And, you know, this is part of us and part of what we've, you know, just bought into. And just happy for him, and happy for Kelly, and happy for the blood center, the community blood center in Oshkosh, and all the work we do. And just getting it out there again, just constantly reminding people, try to help someone out.
I want to repeat a line that we saw in the video, but it was also in the Chancellor Levitt's letter, which was, simply put, Phoenix Bridegroom lives because Brett Casper gives. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot. Obviously, the meaning behind it, but also coming from Chancellor. You know, Chancellor's been a huge support to our program, and we definitely appreciate having his support. You know, not even, you know, not just the football team, but this award in general too. I mean, promoting it and getting the staff and the rest of the university excited about it. That means a lot to me.
Camera's right there. Say hello to the Bridegroom family.
Hey, Bridegrooms.
Hey, Phoenix.
How we doing? Hang in there.
I know we were talking before you got up here about an update I saw on Monday on her page that her numbers were a little bit off, but she's doing fine. She's in remission, and that she's just trying to lead a life of a normal child. That's got to be really important for you to see and hear and stay involved with.
Yeah, it's super cool to hear. You know, she's a normal 5th grade student now. You know, playing the violin, chess club, journal club. So she's just getting to live that normal childhood life, and we're happy to be a part of that.
And you're going to get to live the normal student life for a little bit as you prepare to exit stage left, I guess. But I see a bright future for you outside. Last question for you: what is next overall? I think.
Get a job, baby.
Yeah, I was just going to say, maybe Jordan Wilcox's advice to you about the student loan debt, et cetera. But what is next? Have you been in pursuit?
I haven't really had time to sit back and think. But it's start to job search. Start finding that career and try to start making some money.
Hey, folks out there, get this guy a job. Give it to him.
I appreciate it.
He deserves it, no doubt.
Thanks.
Brett Casper,
hey,
congratulations, Coach.
Thanks for having us.
Congratulations to you as well. And, folks, we are going to be starting to close out. One thing we wanted to do is congratulate the other 6 semifinals, semifinalists, that is, in Austin Bruining, senior running back from North Central College, Matt Gono, the senior offensive lineman from Wesley College, Ty Parsons, senior linebacker from East Texas Baptist University, John Smith, senior running back from Husson University, Evan Wise, senior quarterback from Trine University, and Jesse Zubik, the senior wide receiver from Washington and Jefferson College. You have my normal list of folks to thank here, but we do want to thank, especially as my pin right here says, the city of Salem. The city of Salem is so special to all of us, and you're going to hear it throughout the week from us here that, 25 years, it's a long time. A lot of the hosts of various NCAA events only get a couple years or a few years or maybe 5 if they're lucky, but this has been 25 years. This is a family. This is a relationship per se, or more than per se, it really is one. So you're going to hear about this all week long, but we want to thank Kerry Harvey Cutter and the ODAC, J.J. Neckloff, Brad Bankston, and everybody associated with them as well. We want to thank our friends at D3Photography.com that have been doing a great job for us as well. And we want to thank the J Club, St. John's, the ODAC, as I said, and I can't repeat the last thing I've been handed here. So we will Roanoke College. That was Roanoke College in that. Nonetheless, we want to thank everybody, and that is true. Roanoke College has been a great supporter and helper with us throughout the years here. Like I said, you'll hear a lot more about this on Friday. Stag Bowl pregame show will go live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. 7 o'clock will be the ESPN3 or ESPNU airtime. You'll want to turn down the volume to that and listen to us here from D3Football.com at that point in time. So also want to invite especially folks, fans from the winning team to join us at Mac and Bob's here in Salem, right down the street, as we'll be doing the Around the Nation podcast from there. So for Pat Coleman, Dave McHugh, our producer, and everybody who's affiliated with this show, congratulations to Brett Casper, the senior quarterback from UW Oshkosh. I was doing a slow dramatic effect there, and somebody was like trying to yell it at me. Nonetheless, thanks for joining us, folks, and we'll see you Friday.